Welcome everybody to the third Trust and Safety Forum. We are excited to have you here. For the ones that do not know us, I'm Caroline Humer, and this is Jean-Christophe Le Toquin. We partnered together 3 years ago to create the Trust and Safety Forum here in Lille as part of the INCYBER Forum. The idea that came to us is that we felt there was a gap within Europe to talk about trust and safety and bringing trust and safety community together. And so this is why we built the Trust and Safety Forum. We were lucky enough to partner with INCYBER Forum to really provide us with the logistics and the equipment and the location. And it also allows us to bring in the cybersecurity experts and specialists that can help us as well as we help them, because we do believe there's an interlink and intertwined connection between the two industries. Trust and Safety is a separate entity, a separate industry. We do understand that, but we do believe also that we can learn from others. We are excited for the next 2 days to be here. I hope you are too. We're looking forward to lots of different conversations. We have 2 rooms available today and tomorrow morning. This is the one room, and then we've got the second room just across the hallway, 3.8. You unfortunately will have to choose one room per session. The lucky part is that we are recording some of these sessions, and they will be made available on the INCYBER Forum YouTube channel. For the speakers and the panelists, if you do not want to be recorded, please let me know before your session so that we can make sure to tell the technicians not to record. Yeah. That's really important for the speakers and moderators. So first of all, also thank you to all of our great partners who have sponsored and be part of this year's conference. We are lucky to we're growing and really building this conference from the last 2 years. So every year we are seeming to expand in sponsorship as well as in participation. Last year, if you were here, you noticed that we have bigger rooms this year. Last year, in the 2 small rooms that we had about 400 people packed in that day. So that's one of the reasons why we are lucky to have 2 bigger rooms this year to really accommodate the demand and the interest into trust and safety. So thank you to our partners and to our sponsors to be part of this year's conference. Little bit of also some things that may be of interest to you if you're not aware and interested in trust and safety. The Marketplace Risk Company as well as the Trust and Safety Professional Association have partnered together to develop a survey for trust and safety to understand how we can measure the ROI for trust and safety and the investment, so that once we as the people who do this work on a day-to-day basis, can go to our higher-ups, to our managers, CEOs, and say, this is why you need to invest into trust and safety. So if you're not part of this, or you would like to be part of it, take a picture of the QR code, fill out the survey. If you've been at multiple companies, then fill it out for each of the times you've been at different companies. This is all anonymous, so we will not name companies of what's happening in companies. That's not how they work. They will aggregate this information and put it all together. You can also find it on both of their websites, either Marketplace Risk or Trust and Safety Professional Association. The other project that we've really been working on is also great, that we're expanding not just for Trust and Safety Forum here with the day and a half and two rooms, but we've also now have additional 3 workshops really tomorrow afternoon. One is in partnership with the other associated event, the IDKYC Forum, focusing around the accountability of the use of the internet. And that's tomorrow afternoon at 2 to 3 p.m. and that's in room 3.2, so you need to go back out and around up the stairs to get to that room. That will be in conjunction, I think, with a few companies, including Yachty and ATKM from Holland. I don't know if Arda is already in the room. Then we have 2 additional workshops really focusing around more conversations. One is the image-based sexual violence from 2 to 3 p.m. And that is, unfortunately, Andrea cannot be with us today, but will be sponsored by Videntifier from Siggy, as well as Jean-Christophe and myself will be in the room to have that kind of conversation around how do we look at image-based violence and the victim approach. There is a prelude to that with a small panel discussion tomorrow morning as well. The last workshop that's sponsored by Google, Understanding Safety by Design, that's also tomorrow afternoon. If you have not signed up for the session yet, don't worry, you can actually meet Vincent, who's back here. He's happy to take your name or just show up at room 3.4 tomorrow afternoon to focus around understanding safety by design. Both of these are great conversations to really get to be partners and new projects to be involved. I think other than that, what am I,
And for the one on the survivors, talk to us.
Yes, on the survivors, let us know if you're interested to join us. And the ones that have registered, you're good to go. Also, you may have noticed we've got 2 stands in the back. That's also new and expanding, that we're bringing in booths or stands. So we have Revolver, or formerly known as Crisp, and Blue Beer in the back. So feel free to talk to both of them during the session, after the sessions, in the breaks, lunchtime, etc. It's great to have both of them here to showcase some of the work that they do as well. Certainly, we're always interested to find new partners in this. So for 2024, if you're interested, just let us know. Preferably after the forum, so we don't forget. But if you will forget, please send us an email and we'll get back to you. I think logistically wise, that is all I had to say, right? So with no further ado, what I wanted to do, unfortunately, Mashilo Boloka, from the vice chair of the Regulators Network, could also not be with us this year, but he did provide us with a video. So I would like to share this video with you as a keynote speech. And it is about 15 minutes long, so keep with us. But it's a great conversation that he's providing us, a little bit of insight onto the trust and safety and the regulation space. So if you could please run the video, that would be great.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and the trust and safety family space. But I just want to say that because of the environment in which we are in, taking into account the context of the event this morning, we are, as regulators, we are navigating through risk and a lot of uncertainties. And I'll explain why there are a lot of these uncertainties. This is the content of my presentation. I'll start with the regulatory context, our growing concerns, which is the main issue that I want to discuss with you this morning. And what is it that we are doing as the Global Online Safety Regulators Network? Because what these issues require is a kind of global response. I'll also tackle the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis as part of fulfilling this important task. And notwithstanding some of the challenges that we face, there are also hopes and opportunities we shouldn't ignore. But equally, some I also touch on the future work that as the online safety regulators we are doing internationally. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to start with the regulatory context, the 2024 Trust and Safety Forum occurs within environment characterized by a lot of issues impacting on trust and safety. One, all of us in the last couple of years, we have been, engulfed in unprecedented geopolitical upheavals and uncertainties. These are without any doubt impacting on the kind of work that we do, especially around the protection of children. The war on Gaza, the Ukraine war, and wars in other parts of the world. Because if they happen, it is often difficult because they are intertwined with some huge political issues. And as a result, as online regulators, we often get caught in this kind of issues to extent that we are not able to develop that necessary global response to online safety or including issues affecting the children. Therefore, it's important that we have to contextualize this issue and say, how would we deal with those? The second issue that is very important is the rise of artificial intelligence and the threat that it poses, as well as the challenges and the opportunities. Hence, I think the growth of the trust and safety movement in the last couple of years. We also have noticed, very interestingly, the growth of the trust and safety industry. And this unfortunately happens at a time when the online harms, particularly that directed at children and women, has increased suddenly. And all of us continue to ask ourselves, if many of the platform owners spend so much on trust and safety tools, why is the global online harms increasing so significantly? And we have noticed, I think, throughout the world, there's an appetite for a lot of media attention and news events on relating to online harms or trust and safety in general. But also very important, I think it's a new topic that as we discuss trust and safety, we should lose sight of is what you call protection and care. In other words, because despite the fact that having this huge technology, whether artificial intelligence or generative artificial intelligence would help us to moderate, but we still have the human element associated with tasks. So the question is, how are we dealing with this, particularly on the protection of the content moderators, as well as the victims of online, who on a daily basis, whether as children or whether as women, continue to face this kind of challenges, so they become the victim of these harms. So what are we doing about that? And this is a big issue growing across the world. That's why I think elsewhere you have seen the good work that the Reclaim Coalition, coordinated by Panorama Global, led by Andrea Powell, is kind of really taking a lead in this. And I think many of us are supportive of that initiative until such time that we focus our discussions on victim or survivor support. I think our quest to deal with online harms will be inadequate. I think the other context that we should lose sight of is, if you think about it, for 2024, many of the countries will be going through their national elections. South Africa being one, India, and other countries elsewhere. But the biggest question is, we are faced with what you call misinformation and disinformation. If we are not careful, will impact on the outcome of the elections. And as online regulators, that's the context that we operate in. The advertising on social media platforms that, to a certain extent, when you look at the expenditure that we have talked about relating to the trust and safety expenditure by platforms, sometimes you may assume that probably is the driving force why some of these platform owners are spending so much money on tools, but not to protect the public, but to kind of be seen to be doing a good job around the protection of the public. So I think for us, these are some of the issues that we face and trying to contextualize them as we continue to do with this work. I'm raising the issue of misinformation and disinformation because of the World and Economic Forum's Global Risk Report 2024, which outlined or identified misinformation and disinformation as the severe global risk, existential risk facing the world in terms of social tensions, creating hate, and so forth. So the question is, do we have adequate or effective controls to protect the public? I think the report by our fellow regulators of Common 2024 on the ineffectiveness of the content controls is very instructive in this regard. So as we deal with this, one of the, I think, biggest issues within our context is, as online regulators, is where do we draw the line between public protection vis-a-vis privacy and other civil liberties, such as freedom of expression. But for us, this is very important. Public protection is very important, and we shouldn't lose sight of that. But we still have to protect the constitutional rights that the public have around privacy and other civil liberties. Therefore, we can't just ignore them. But there's a thin line, because what we have noticed is that most of the online perpetrators hide around privacy or the technological opportunities that are provided so as to safeguard privacy and other civil liberties. But for us, it's a thin line that we need to navigate. So the problem is, what you have noticed is that from where we are sitting as regulators, platform owners or platforms are not doing enough to protect the public, especially children. And this is not only a one country issue, it's a global problem, irrespective of their size, particularly the bigger sizes, actually, who can do more. They've got adequate resources to do this, but they are not doing enough. So as global online safety regulators, we are saying we need strong enforcement measures against these resistant platforms. But it's not because they can't do that, just that maybe there hasn't been a willingness shown to deal with this. But equally, one of the issues that confront us on daily basis is the policy in action on the various jurisdictions. In other words, the way all of us acknowledge that online harms is a problem, but we have the policy that enables us to do the tasks that we have to do, or even establishing the regulators that we have. In certain instances, you find that we've got policy in place, but you don't have the enforcement measures in place. And these are some of the issues that we deal with on a daily basis. That's why, because the online space is beyond any nation, is beyond any boundary. That's why we establish what we call the Online Safety Regulators Network as a global response. Because what is it that is doing is it fosters collaboration that has never seen before, bringing together online regulators, NGOs, hotlines, academia, and other industrial players to share information, best practices, expertise, and we have also created a coordinated approach to online strategy and issues. We also strive to promote regulatory coherence in the development of online safety measures. So even though it was launched as one of the newest movements as the Global Online Safety Regulators Network, launched at family at FOSI in 2022 in Washington, we have made strides in the sense that, one, we have grown from the 4 members that established this network to about 7 statutory regulators. Today, we can count a number of observers, 9 in total. And it represents, diverse membership from 5 continents: North America, Africa, Europe, Australia, and the Pacific, Asia Pacific. We have also finalized what we call the work plan outlining our priorities, which will show what are the efforts that we are doing and the initiatives that we are set to undertake as the network. We have also established, and they are fully functional, 2 working groups on technology and public education. And I think a lot of our members are participating on those. They find them very useful because beyond sharing of the strategies, they prioritize certain initiatives that can help in creating a safer online space. Obviously, for this kind of a network, there are always challenges, simply because at the highest level, the issue of cross-border regulatory fragmentation and compliance challenges. This is because while the risk of that people face online are universal, irrespective of where the person stays, the protections are still contained within national or continental borders or legislations. We also don't have regulatory instruments at international level to also assist in enforcement. So which means I think we still kind of work on the basis of sharing ideas because there are no other enforcement initiatives. We also see fragmentation in the relation of, the regulatory scopes or the remits for online regulators. And I think even within the network, there are those that will tell you that you only deal with children. There are others that only deal with hate speech. There are others that deal with only terrorist content. Meanwhile, we've got others that deal with the full bouquet, like the Film and Publication Board, where our role is an online safety regulators who exist to protect the public against harmful content, irrespective of whether it's children, women, and any other member of the society. We still, like I've mentioned, it's a big challenge having to navigate between public protection and other civil liberties. But for us, it's very important. And that's where we want the tech companies to assist us to deal with this matter, so that the online perpetrators don't hide behind their technologies. But equally, despite all these challenges, there are equally hopes and opportunities that as the network we begin to see. One is the resilience of the trust and safety communities. I think that's, despite all these challenges, we see the resilience. Hence, we got events like this where people openly share ideas and engage in robust discussion on how to protect the public. The other opportunity that we see, or hope that we see, which shows that the world is really changing, even at a slower pace, the growing trends in online legislations and the establishment or the proposal to establish dedicated online safety regulators, Canada being the latest example. We welcome those kind of initiatives. We call on all governments everywhere else to look into this, because until such time that you've got a dedicated online safety regulator, the public won't be protected. And secondly, we can no longer rely on the positive gestures of the tech platforms, because they've just shown that those kind of self-regulatory mechanisms haven't worked in the past. But more importantly, is that women are the leaders in trust and safety movement. I mean, we do accept that which you call online harms has actually become online gender-based violence, because whether you talk children, whether you talk deep fakes, whether you talk cyberbullying, all of them have women as victims. But what gives us is the fact that women are the leaders in this movement. And I think all of us should, support all these initiatives led by powerful women. Hence, if you look at the global online safety regulators, the leadership and where this thing originated was, kind of an initiative of powerful women in the regulatory industry. As the Global Online Safety Regulators Network, obviously there are, an agenda that we have as part of our future work. We still strive to see harmonized regulations throughout the world, because whether you are in Australia, whether you are in Somalia, whether you are in Zambia, whether you are in Azerbaijan, you still face the same kind of online problems. They are the same, and we deal with the same kind of tech platform companies. We also, work striving for coherent and regulatory space, as well as education, to ensure that our public are well aware of the dangers of online space. Finally, we hope to strengthen and collaborate on enforcement, because we have noticed that we are dealing with a resistant environment. And unless we strengthen enforcement, tougher measures, especially for serial perpetrators or non-compliant platforms. There are those, obviously, not all the platforms, but there are others that we have seen they are willing to work with us in this journey of making sure that we create an online space. So in a nutshell, this marks the end of my presentation. I want to wish you a 2 days of good engagement. I hope your engagement and robust discussions will, in one another, improve trust and safety challenges that I have outlined, and make online a safer environment. Once again, thank you very much for listening. I hope to see you in the future. I want to thank you very much.
Something away from that. Of course, we're already slightly behind, as always, in the morning. And as a Swiss person, I am trying to be as punctual as possible. If we want to split into two rooms, so we have a session here coming up, talking a little more about navigating the future together in regards to trust and safety and the strengths. And then in the room 3.8, it's AI and counterterrorism conversation. So I would love to invite the next panelists to come up here, but feel free to switch rooms and choose your interest, and we'll see you very soon.